Jeff from Vilano Bikes. Always read your owner's manual and bring your bike to your local bike shop to assure proper assembly and safety. This video takes our Vilano Tuono road bike from box to road. When I first open the box and look inside, I can see everything is together in one piece. It's zip tied and packaged. We come towards the back, towards the rear wheel. We'll see the seat zip tied. If we look down in there, there's the parts box. So I will start by one, getting a good pair of cutters and cutting the seat away from the bike, and then I will reach down in the box and get my bike. Removing the bike from the box, I'm just going to put one hand on the rear wheel and one on the foam of padding of the top tube and try to pull it straight up as possible. Hopefully drag the box off here, pull it straight up and out. I'm going to open up the parts box and inside our parts box we have a set of pedals, I have the quick release skewer for the front wheel, and the reflector set in here. We got the rear and the front reflector, both brackets, and I have some screws for it. And lastly, we have the owner's manual. So this will be the contents of your box. Owner's manual, pedal set, front wheel skewer, and the reflector set. To unpack the bike is very simple. You just take a nice pair of sharp cutters and cut away all the zip ties. There's a lot of plastic protective packaging on here, especially on the wheels. We have these protectors. Often that little tab will break off as you pull it out. If it breaks off in the wheel, just when you insert your skewer, you could push that out. You remove again, and you plastic they're on the wheels especially, and there's a protective piece under the fork. You can just knock that out. Again, you'll continue just to cut away any zip ties, and of course when you're cutting any of the foam away, just be careful not to scratch the bike itself. Before you install your seat post, what you want to do is just get a little dab of bicycle lube and go all around the top of the seat tube, and then you can install your seat post. Just slide it right down in there. What the lube does is it assures that you will be able to remove this in another 5 years. And this is just a 5mm bolt. Of course, you'll adjust it to whatever height you like, and just make this good and tight. With a 4mm wrench, I'm going to remove the bolts from the faceplate of the stem. Be careful not to drop them. Loosen them all up. Once we have the stem, we will grab the handlebar and put it into place. The handlebar, as you can see, is grooved. We want to make sure we center that. Then we'll bring our plate back. And put this into place. And it could be a little bit of a challenge to get these started without dropping any of the bolts. You could have one bolt in place at a time if you like. I just happen to leave all 4 in there. You also want to make sure you are not pinching the brake cable behind the faceplate of the stem. And I will again make sure this is centered. And I'll position the bars where I want them and tighten this up. This has to be really tight. You don't want your bars to slip on you. This is a 4mm hex. And if I was using a torque wrench, I would torque these up to 6 to 8 Newton meters. Again, I'm just going to go back and snug them up with a different wrench. As well, when you are installing these and tightening them, you want to try to make the gap on the faceplate even on the top and the bottom. So I have a gap here, and if we could spin this around, possibly see the gap on the bottom. So now we can see the gap from the top and the bottom, and this top gap is a lot wider than the bottom, so I will even it out again by tightening here. And if I have to loosen this bottom one a little bit to make them as even as possible. And once we have everything even, we will continue to tighten. Next, I'm going to install a shifter on the bar. You'll just remove the screw that's on the clamp, and you'll have to open up the clamp itself. It's pretty pliable, so it's not hard to open up. I'll then close the clamp around the bar itself, and then I will reinsert the screw. Make sure if the brake cable is going underneath the clamp, you want to make sure the brake cable is in front of the clamp. And again, we will reinsert this screw. You may have to hold the back of the shifter. Just hold it with some pressure and apply some pressure forward on the clamp until you get the screw to catch. Once the screw catches, it will clamp itself to the bar. And you can position these how you like, but I like to position them just about maybe parallel to the stem. And we'll just tighten this up good. As well as I usually would come as far over as possible before the handlebar starts to taper down. This way it gives the shifter a little clearance this way on the stem. And you just repeat the same thing for the left side shifter. Installing the pedals. When you install the pedals, they are left and right side specific. the left side pedal and the right side pedal will always be marked either on the back side of the pedal. There'll be an R and an L stamped on them. Often if you look at the pedals this way also, the left side pedal, you may see all these grooves along the top. And the right side pedal won't have that. They'll sometimes have stickers on them. To install a pedal, you'll want to put some lube on it. Put it all around. Go around. This needs a light layer of lube. So I have the right side pedal, and this is the right side of the bicycle, the side with the chain rings. And this is just going to be a normal threaded pedal. And I'm going to get it started. Meaning this will tighten by turning it clockwise. And I have a pedal wrench. Bicycle pedal wrenches are extra long for leverage and a little thinner than a normal wrench. And bicycle pedals have to be extra tight. Again, this is going to turn clockwise to tighten the right side pedal. And it must be extra tight. If it's not extra tight, what happens as you pedal the bicycle, it will loosen itself up. Extra tight right side clockwise. Now I'm going to do the left side pedal. Again, we're going to apply some sort of bicycle lube on the pedal itself. It doesn't need to be a whole lot. Put this extra lube here. The left side pedal again will be marked L. You may see some grooves on the top of the pedal. And this pedal has a reverse thread. So it is going to thread on counterclockwise. And again, I will grab a bicycle pedal wrench and get that on there. So this is going on counterclockwise for the left side, and the left side of the bike will be the side without the chain. And once again, you want to make sure that this is extra tight so it doesn't back itself out. Now I'm going to install the front wheel. You'll grab your skewer, remove the nut side of the skewer, and there are two springs on here as well. These springs are cone shaped. The cone shape, the narrow side will be towards the wheel and the wide side to the outside. I have one over here already. You're going to have one on either side of the wheel as well. You'll grab your front wheel. If there is any tread padding on the wheel, you'll try to make if it has some sort of pointed arrow shape, that will go towards the front. The axle is hollow. So I will put the skewer through the axle, and again, because of the tire padding, this is going to be the left side. And I'll push the skewer through, and then on the other side we will put the narrow side of the spring towards the axle, and then just put our nut on here. Now we'll just slide the wheel into the dropouts of the fork, and you can see the skewer on this side. Pull it all the way up into the dropouts. What I will do at this point is I will hold this in place, the nut, and then I will turn this to tighten it, and as I tighten it I will flip it back. This is the open position. It needs to be flipped back in order to keep the front wheel on the bicycle. So again, I'm constantly spinning it and flipping it back until I find it has enough pressure that it really takes a whole handful of palm in order to close it, and we will typically flip this towards the back of the bicycle. So I want to snug this up a little bit more, but I know if I make one full rotation here, it's going to be, oh well, maybe not. Yeah, it's pretty tight. But sometimes when you have this in position where you want it, you could at that point make any minor adjustments by tightening the right side nut to really get the pressure you're looking for to close this, and then just flip it back. Now that the front wheel is on, we could center our stem and tighten it in place. So you want to make sure your stem is in line with your front wheel. And then once it is, you just come back here, and this pinch bolt here will keep that position, and there's two bolts here. This is a 5mm wrench. There's one on this side, and then there's one on this side as well, and you want to make sure that these are good and tight. This way your stem doesn't move while you're riding. Now we'll air the tires. I have a bicycle floor pump here. You may have a hand pump. Whatever style pump you use is okay. We'll find the valve. This bicycle does use a Presta valve, so you'll have to remove the cap, open the nut on the valve. It helps to give it a little push sometimes because they stick. You will grab your pump head. This particular pump and most modern pumps either has some sort of smart head and or two different ports for air. This is Presta valve, so it goes on the narrow side. I'll push it on, and then you will air this. These tires are 100 psi and are really hard. If you don't have a pressure gauge on your pump, again most modern pumps do, if you reach 100 psi, you shouldn't be able to squeeze the tire and feel it compress at all. It would be really hard to squeeze it from the side. Again, once you reach 100 psi, you remove the pump, you tighten the nut on the valve, and put the cap on. And we'll do the same for both tires. Last are the reflectors, and the white goes up front. You'll just get this around the brake cables and behind the shifter. I'll grab a screwdriver and we'll just bolt this in place. And the red reflector goes in the rear. Get it on the bicycle. Get this screw in place. And of course you want it to face the rear of the bike itself. Jeff from Vilano Bikes. Always read your owner's manual and bring your bike to your local bike shop to assure proper assembly and safety. This video takes our Vilano Tuono road bike from box to road. When I first open the box and look inside, I can see everything is together in one piece. It's zip tied and packaged. You come towards the back, towards the rear wheel. You'll see the seat zip tied. We look down in there. There's the parts box. So I will start by one, getting a good pair of cutters and cutting the seat away from the bike, and then I will reach down in the box and get my bike. Removing the bike from the box, I'm just going to put one hand on the rear wheel and one on the foam of the pegging of the top tube and try to pull as straight up as possible. Hopefully drag the box out here, pull it straight up and out. I'm going to open up the parts box and inside our parts box we have a set of pedals. I have the quick release skewer for the front wheel.